Evaluating integrals. When we use a limit to evaluate a definite integral, we need to know how to work with sums. The following three equations give formulas for sums of powers of positive integers, so it's really important to have these handy. For number 5, when we find the summation of I is equal to 1 to n of I, well, that's going to equal n times n plus 1 over 2. For 6, if we take the summation from 1 to n of I squared, well, that equals n times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 over 6. We take the summation of I is equal to 1 to n of I cubed, well, that's going to equal n times n plus 1 over 2 squared. Now, the remaining formulas are simple rules for working with sigma notation. Okay, so for A, if we take the summation of I is equal to 1 to n of C, well, that's going to equal n times C. For number 9, if we take the summation of I is equal to 1 to n of C times A subscript I, we can factor out the constant C and take the summation of A subscript I. For 10, if we take the summation of AI plus BI, then we can rewrite that as a sum in two different sums. Same thing with subtraction. Okay, so formulas 8 through 11 are provided by writing out each side in expanded form. So the left side, for example, of equation 9 is C times A1 plus C times A2 plus all the way to C times AN. And then the right side is going to be C times, which is the constant, meaning you're factoring that out and then multiplying it by the sum. And these are equal by the distributive property. And these other formulas are also discussed in Appendix F. Now, there is an additional item that I wanted to add in here. Okay, and so I'll just add it down here at the bottom, which kind of sort of would coincide with number 7. Now, if I have 1 plus 2 plus 3 and I square it, well, that actually equals the same thing as 1 cubed plus 2 cubed plus 3 cubed. Okay, so it's one of those forms that you want to use when you see this later on. So if you take a look up here in the calculator, 1 plus 2 plus 3 squared gives you 36. And 1 cubed plus 2 cubed plus 3 cubed also gives you 36. So that means that these are equal to each other, and sometimes they'll come in handy when you're breaking some things down. Okay, so that concludes those definitions.